We are live and I'm so excited. Welcome to Super Bad All Day Long. Super Bad all day long. And this is our master class. Our master class is going to bring you skills, specific stories, ingredients for you to grab hold of an unapologetic, powerful you. And every week we bring you either a message or a superstar who has done the same thing. Let me just say that when we made the announcement that Matt was going to be on the show today, Matt, they went nuts. Many people are familiar with you, so I'm so excited to bring you to Glow Nation as we talk about people who have been on course with creating a moment where they are super bad all day long because they decided to be unapologetically powerful. Okay, so I was really excited to be on Matt's podcast earlier this year. We really got to know each other. He lives in my favorite city. I know you might ask yourself, why do I live here when my favorite city is Dallas? Clearly my favorite city for a lot of different reasons. Awesome. And Matt is there, and a lot of my friends love Dallas. So this is very exciting for me to introduce myself to many of you who I may not have met before. My name is Gloria Mayfield Banks. I'm an author. I am an entrepreneur for over 30 years. I'm #1 in Mary Kay Cosmetics. I speak internationally. I've touched 6 continents, really teaching people about leadership and lifestyle. Leadership and lifestyle, possibly touching your core to make sure that if you want more, you join me on my private Facebook page, which is all about women who want to be stronger, smarter, and more successful. You will search it out and you will find it on the Power Huddle, where I feed you constantly ways of which to increase your income, increase your impact. But this show, Matt, I want to get right into it. I'm so excited about his message. And the reason I'm so excited about his message is, you know how some people, Matt, tiptoe around money? They tiptoe around money. Well, I created my platform saying to women all day long, you need to make more money. You need more. And some people know it, but I want you to deliver it, Matt. Tell them a little bit about yourself. We definitely want to know how to find you. We want you to introduce yourself and tell them what we talked about.
Well, I'm as excited to be with you as you are to have me. I appreciate it. You know, our podcast together is our #2 most watched podcast of 2018, the one that you and I did together. Yeah.
Really?
It's unbelievable. Every single week it shows up in the top 2 or 3. Yeah, it's awesome.
That's so exciting.
We had a good time that day, didn't we?
We went deep.
Yeah. So look, my name is Matt Manero. You know, my storyline is similar to just about every other entrepreneur on the planet. I started from nothing. Had a desire to make something of myself. I had no idea where it was going to come from. You know, my real dad split when I was 6 months old. I never saw him again. I never heard from him again. Just like that, he was gone. My mother remarried. My adopted dad was a very hard guy. I lived most of my adolescence with him calling me stupid and idiot and retard. And that really shaped my self-confidence. And even though in some other areas I was good in athletics and I think I was a likable kid, but deep down I was really damaged by that mindset. I did not feel empowered, but I had a faith, and I always knew that something good was gonna come of my life, and that I was gonna be okay. Whether we call it faith in God or faith in purpose or faith in mission, I knew it was gonna be okay, but I had no idea where it was gonna come from.
Right.
And I ended up in the equipment financing business, a business that almost nobody knows about. We literally finance thousands and thousands of truckers that go up and down the road, the big rigs that haul freight every day. We have 10,000 plus customers, and that's what our company does. I started it from zero 23 years ago in a 1-bedroom apartment with a phone and a folding table and a Yellow Pages, literally cold calling.
Right.
Hundreds of cold calls a day for years, not like days or years.
Right.
And I just began to develop a habit, and eventually that habit towards work and success, Gloria, began to starve out that insecurity that was the original that consumed my subconscious, was
Right.
the insecurity. And
Right.
then slowly but surely, through ridiculously hard work and focus and retraining, I began to starve that self-confidence issue away.
Wow.
And in all frankness, it took me a long time. I'm 49 years old. I think it probably took till I was about 40 or 41 to kill that last bit of it, because it wants to live, man. That stuff wants to live. That insecurity wants to live.
I got to say this. I loved what you said, is that you starved out the insecurity. You starved out, and you talked about a specific action that you did over and over again for years. You never gave up. For years, you starved out, because a lot of people park on the fact that they could be insecure, and they don't know that it can be, that you can do the things you need to do to take it away. Go ahead. I just want to get on that.
Look, I believe that sooner or later, you can't live on that platform of insecurity,
Right.
and victim mindset or blamer mindset, as I talk about in my book. That can't be the fuel.
Yeah.
That fuel burns out. Sooner or later, we've got to replace that fuel with the right habits, the right work ethics, this constant belief in ourselves that what action steps we're taking are going to lead to the appropriate outcome.
Yeah.
Because, we see people paralyzed in their lives. Their lives never get better than when they were 12 or 13 or 14. They never re-record the tapes.
Right. And Matt, it's important for this audience to know that as you're talking, that it is the same opportunity. We all have the same opportunity. So we must deal with those things that are blocking us, and stop saying in that conversation, it's not for me, or I can't get it. You can get it. You have the same opportunity. You have to push through your obstacles.
Nobody gave me anything. I didn't have a mentor at home. I didn't have a mentor from a friend's dad. Never stepped up and said, "Hey, Manero, you got talent. You should do this." Never. I never had a coach help me with it. Yeah. I never had somebody in business help me with it. So I really had to go through this school of hard knocks for a long time. And I would challenge everyone listening that you don't have to take that process. That roadmap doesn't have to happen for you. There are so many people that want to help you if you have the confidence to ask for the help. And I was so afraid to ask. I was saying, the business isn't successful enough. I'm fat. I went to cooking school. I don't have any real college education. Who's going to help me with it? And I ended up on a little bit of an island, Gloria, for a long time, just sort of isolated to my own little world. And that cost me time, and it certainly cost me success. If I had just reached out, like I ended up later in my life reaching out, and I used to go around to conventions and stuff, say, "Hey, I'm Matt Manero from Dallas, Texas. I'm looking for a mentor. Who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know?" Right. And then I ended up finding this one guy that really helped me put it all together and just explode. And, just on a side note, that company called Commercial Fleet Financing that started in that one-bedroom apartment, we'll do $150 million this year.
Really?
So,
it's very exciting.
Yeah, it's fun. It's been good.
Super bad all day long, you guys. Right there, from 0 to 150 million, starting in his one-bedroom apartment with no mentorship till later. Are you guys with me? And with a story? If I were to ask you, raise your hand if you have a story, a backstory. Everybody has a story. But
how do we deal with it? But how do we deal with it?
Right. Go ahead.
Well, how do we deal with it, right? Do we allow it to cripple us, or do we turn into it? All that stuff. By the way, I have a good relationship with my adopted dad today. Because what all of that stuff for me ended up being a gift for me, Gloria. And I would challenge the audience to look at it in that light, because guess what it did? It gave me a very thick skin. So when I'm cold calling out the yellow pages and people are telling me to go pound sand and I don't need you. Why would you? I already had enough thick. I had already heard it all, right? So for me, it turned out to be actually a roadmap and a gift for me to have the ability, this high tolerance of pain, to get through this sales cycle. And selling is tough. As we all know that, but oftentimes we make it harder than it is.
I love what you said. I developed a high tolerance for pain. The gift was a high tolerance for pain. The reward was the ability to keep calling when you were when people are telling you to pound sand. And because I have a whole lot of people here that are selling, because I'm like you, I believe everybody's selling something. You might be selling a thing. You might be selling an idea. You might be selling a vision. You're selling yourself. You're branding yourself. You're selling. But you've got to have a tolerance for something that will give you the ability to keep going at it in order to become super bad. Absolutely.
I can tell you, for me, most of it was money, right? It was a money-driven environment for me. I wasn't building a legacy-based company. It took me a long time to figure out that my company was actually employing a lot of people and helping the American economy by financing truckers to deliver. I never connected the two dots like that for a long time.
Wow.
And I didn't apologize for that either, by the way. I think everybody's got to get out and get their piece of the American pie first.
Right.
And then we can go in and try to solve all these big problems. But we got to take care of our own goodies first.
Right. Say it again when you say you can't give what you don't have. Yeah. So if you want to give money, if you want to give joy, if you want to give patience, if you want to give these things, you've got to be very intentional about gaining them so that you can give them away. I mean, just amazing. Your platform, Matt, talk about that platform of You Need More Money, and tell them a little bit about this summer for you, because I thought that was riveting.
Yeah, I wrote the book, came out this year. Penguin is the publisher. The book is called You Need More Money. And a lot of people think it's about investment strategies and tax advantages. It really doesn't have a ton of that in there. It's a story of my brother-in-law who died at 46 years old. He left his wife and 4 kids with no health insurance, no life insurance, and $100 in a bank. And that rocked our world, because my wife was so madly in love with her only brother that when that event happened for us, I mean, he went to the doctor, Gloria, just to he thought he was going to get a shot and go back to work. And he ends up getting diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And then when you add the fact that there's no money in it, I watched this incredible sense of guilt come over someone that we love so much.
Yes.
And we were prepared. So we dropped in and we said to him, I don't want you to worry about the money piece, John. We've got you handled. We're going to take care of all of it for you. And I watched how he actually felt so incredibly relieved about that. And he died almost 1 year to the day of his diagnosis. And I ended up writing the book. And my purpose of the book is to give people a wake-up call that says, stop finding this I'm good period in your life. I think those are the 2 worst words you can say to yourself. I'm good.
Right. It doesn't mean that you're not grateful for what you have. But when you say I'm good, you've settled into good is enough. And that's the opposite of excellence.
I try to help people understand that you should change the terminology of I'm good to I'm hungry. Because if you're good, you're going to eventually get comfortable and stagnant, and that's going to turn into bad for you. But if you're hungry, you're going to eventually get fed.
Right. If you're hungry, you're going to get fed. I want to stop for a minute. I tell everybody all the time, if you care, share. If you care, share. I always say this, to share this broadcast with someone you know or someone you know. And I can't even imagine if I was sitting there watching this masterclass and Matt is telling you the truth about his life experiences, you know someone right off the bat who needs to hear this message. Get prepared. And then this summer, you talked about your friends.
Look, after I wrote the book, I thought it was a little bit isolated to our family. I mean, I didn't realize that it was a raging epidemic in America, that we are so woefully underprepared. I mean, the numbers are staggering. The first part of the book is data thrown at the reader to wake them up and realize we're way behind, that the money has moved, that we're chasing these old numbers. I mean, here's a really sad data point that most people in retirement have less than $50,000 total assets to their name, and their average Social Security benefit is $1,366 a month. That's $16,000 a year. You're not in Tuscany in the summers. You're not driving the country in your RV. Right. I mean, most people have this fantasy of what their later years are going to be, and they never prepare for it. So the first part of the book, I wake people up. The second part, I give them the roadmap. And it is a very personal story of how I went from literally zero. As bad, for people who think they got it bad, look, I watched my car get repossessed after I started my business. And I was down to $40 on a Shell gas card. And I walked to the Shell gas station and I bought $40 worth of milk and Frosted Flakes. And I went back to that dumpy apartment and said, this is not how it finishes for me.
Right.
People think decisions take a long time. Gloria, they take an instant.
Right. Exactly. They take a second to make a decision.
And so I want people to be highly empowered by this book, to wake up that it's okay to want more. And there is a process to it. It's not just a wish, right? And I give them the roadmap in the second half of the book. And the book's done great. And the end result is that I have been exposed to so many experiences through this book of people who went through the same thing that we went through with my brother-in-law, John. I lost my best friend this summer at 48 years old. He died in 2 months from when he went to the doctor to when he died. And then shortly after that, my wife's best friend died. Now, my buddy had money, so his wife and kids are in good shape. But my wife's best friend, we ended up paying for the funeral. And I paid for a lot of funerals because the real takeaway from the book is what a blessing it is to be able to drop in and help the people that didn't get their money situation right. There's no better check to write than that.
Right. You know, Matt, I was talking with someone yesterday on their podcast, and they were asking me what it was like to speak with Oprah when I spoke with Oprah. And one of those times when I spoke with Oprah, which was such a shift for me, was we were doing a fundraiser for women in a homeless shelter in Washington, D.C. And after I did, what I was brought in to do was to ask for the audience on the fundraiser. Oprah came up and decided to give $1 million. My point is, back to your point, there's no better thing to do than to give what you've gained and to motivate and inspire other people. Your story, Oprah just dropping $1 million, when you work like you do, the reason that it's important for you to be okay with working hard and gaining much is so that you can give much. And your example is perfect.
It's so true.
Yeah,
it's so true. By the way, there's a lot of very quick things that people can do, Gloria. Everyone thinks that, if they're starting from broke, that whatever the term we want to use, rich, wealthy, financially free, whatever we want to call it, is so difficult. Look, you can hedge your bet right now as a takeaway to the audience. Just go buy some term life insurance. For $50 a month, my brother-in-law could have had $100,000 or maybe $200,000 life insurance policy, and the outcome would have been totally different. So if we just decide that we're going to focus on security on a broader scale, you can hedge for $50 a month, and you could have fixed that problem right then and there. And then we get back on the roadmap to really start to accumulate some wealth.
Right. Matt, this is so critical for people to understand that getting secure financially doesn't have to be this big thing you need now, because they spend their time worrying, which deflects their ability to be open to new possibilities. You just dropped a huge nugget that many people can start to breathe at night with.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They can breathe because they made a decision, did something about it, about something that's worrying them right now.
I've seen it countless times where people have read that in the book. I say in the book, hit yourself with the book a couple times, put it down, go to Google, type in term life insurance in your city and sign up for it. For $100,000 or $200,000, you don't even need to do a medical test or a blood test or anything. They'll just give it to you online.
Right.
And people respond to me and say, I slept incredible. For $50 a month, I fixed one of my biggest worries of, goodness gracious, what would happen if something happened to me? What would happen to my family? For $50 a month.
Right. Exactly. You guys, it is so imperative that you're listening to this, because when we talk about being super bad all day long, there's different journeys to better. I always talk about this journey called better. There's never a journey to the destination, but you're getting to a place where it's better. And Matt, when you talk about your book, tell them how to get the book and tell them about that red phone booth.
Which next time you're in Dallas, I'm gonna pick you up and bring you back to the studio so you can
love that booth.
The book is on Amazon. Anybody can get it. It's also on Audible, and I read it on Audible. They can check out the reviews. I think it's almost 100% 5-star reviews. And then look, I morphed into the podcast. We just finished episode 161 of the You Need More Money podcast. And I decided to get this phone booth here for 2 reasons. One, it reminds me, and I know that you took a dime out of your pocket, you put it into a payphone, and you were booking sales calls and appointments in that phone booth, right?
Absolutely. In a phone booth.
In the phone booth, in the rain, when nobody at headquarters, they'd all left for the day. And you're standing and you're saying, am I the only one here working for the mission here?
Yeah. Tell them again. Tell them again how you had somebody, you asked, could you watch this cart at the grocery store? There's like 5 people ahead of me. I'm going to run to the phone, make a couple of calls, right? And I'll be back. I didn't know the person before me. I didn't know the person after me, but you have one more time.
And then the other reason I have it is because it reminds me how totally obsolete the phone booth is. We don't do it anymore. And so when I look at this phone booth, I say speed. We got to keep moving. We got to stay in our power zone, as you call it. And we've got to stay very, very focused because change is a coming. And we have to work with it. It doesn't do any good to say this is the way we used to do it. Nobody cares anymore. It moves like that.
Oh my gosh. Matt, okay. Let me introduce you to my new best friend. His name is Matt, okay? Because nobody wants to be in the yesterday performance group. You've got to be here today, and it does move fast. So people who say, oh my God, I don't know how to get it. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to learn it. That is a lie that you continue to tell yourself. You just have decided that you don't want to pay attention to what is obvious.
Let me ask you a question. How much content do you consume to make yourself better on a weekly basis?
Oh my gosh, I do a lot all the time. I mean, you know how they say don't look at your phone when you're going to bed? I mean, the covers are over my head. My phone's there. I'm reading because I can't get enough. I cannot get enough content.
I bet I take in at least 2 hours a day on stuff. I'm on a weight loss program, lose 50 pounds by my 50th birthday, which is February 28th.
Nice.
And so I have a team. I got the nutritionist, the trainer, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he's got me on this keto diet, right? High fat, whatever. I'm not kidding you, Gloria. I bet I probably watched 300 YouTube videos on keto.
Wow.
I watched almost every video. I feel like every video. I just get, when I get locked.
Right.
Yeah, I have to consume incredible amounts of. And the question is, I ask people all the time, who you watching, who you reading, who you listening to.
Right.
And if you tell me like it's sports talk radio on the way to work, man, we got a little bit of a problem.
Right. Okay, Matt, this is big because as a master class, you just brought up something really powerful about you consume content constantly to improve yourself. Mm-hmm. Not so much on how you use it to improve others. You are basically improving yourself so that you can improve others by improving yourself. Now, tell me in a little bit, tell me what happened once you decided to be super bad all day long. Once you decided I will be unapologetically powerful, the direct results you got from that.
Look, I did make that decision. And I said, I'm not going to carry the baggage anymore. I'm going to just do what I know I'm really good. I think if somebody wants to get in their power zone, you really have to figure out just a couple things that you're great at, because I say it in the book that amateurs get crushed and experts get paid.
Wow, so I love that.
We really can't be a generalist. We can't sort of just be one foot on the boat, one on the dock. Sooner or later, we got to commit. Now I do it in my office. How do I do it with my employees? We do personality tests with our employees.
Right.
I want to know, does your personality set up for our accounting department or for our operations department or for our sales department? Why wouldn't everybody take a personality test?
Right.
Go point yourself in the direction of what you're naturally already really good at, and then consume a tremendous amount of content to maximize it. Because I don't think people can be great at 10 things. Right. I think they can only be good at 1, 2, 3 things. And the longer you take to figure that out, time doesn't wait. Time, time. The only thing time is good for is like compound interest. Outside of that, it wants to beat you up.
Exactly. I mean, I just really want them to know we in this all the time, this masterclass, it says take a step in the bad direction. Because in order for you to be super bad all day long, you got to take a step in the bad direction. You've given some amazing nuggets. Your book right now speaks so much to what so many people can do. You talked about devouring content. You talked about this, what you did to starve out the insecurity. I just love that. You talked about I had a high tolerance for pain. You talked about identifying your past challenges and finding the gift. You talked about how you can't be great at everything. So find out what you are good at and pour it in. Is there any one other thing you want me to hit up? Because this has been a gift.
Well, for me too. I want to just finish on something connected to the money piece.
Okay.
I really hope that people understand this term that I use called false positive. It's where you begin to believe that you're doing better than you really are. Your subconscious is looking for ways to tell you that I'm okay. The bills don't come on pink slips anymore, right? We can take a decent vacation. We can go to the nice steakhouse. And I'm here to challenge most people that's just the baseline of success and wealth accumulation when you can do that sort of stuff. Right. You've got to constantly be reminding yourself to be hungry and not to be good.
Right. Constantly, you guys, constantly. If you play the replay on this, you're going to do me two favors. Number one, you're going to hashtag replay. And number two, every time you hear a quote that really resides with you, I want you to type it in the comments every time you listen, because I want to go back and see. And the other people that read the comments are impacted by you. If you care, share this. And Matt, we're going to find you. Do you want to give them a place where they can find you or follow you?
Yeah, the book is You Need More Money on Amazon.
Yes.
And then it's mattmanero.com or Matt Manero on all social.
Awesome. You guys, I am so glad that you joined me at this masterclass, Super Bad All Day Long. And Matt, I need you to tell everybody you know that we are now best friends.
We are.
Your topic was amazing. Thank you so much for joining us on this show. I appreciate you so much.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for asking me.
You guys connect with me at glorymayfieldbanks.com. Don't forget, we are here, all of us, to be stronger, smarter, and more successful. And I'll talk to you later. Be super bad all day long and have the most amazing, incredible, grateful, food and family filled Thanksgiving. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks.
Hey, you're special.